This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Will Jewelry and Loan. When you need cash and you need it fast, check out Will Jewelry and Loan. Come on in with your jewelry, firearms, electronics, tools, lawn equipment, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, and even four-wheelers. They will beat any competitor's loan amount, and that's a fact. Will Jewelry and Loan guarantees faster and more cash for your loan than any other company in the area. They have your cash you need fast. Check them out today on their Facebook page or give them a call at 304-768-5101. Stop in and talk with them at 5523 McCorkle Avenue, Southwest, South Charleston, West Virginia. Will Jewelry and Loan, 304-768-5101. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. Got Dave Young here with me this evening, production and co-host guy. And Dan, he's not going to be with us this evening.
You believe that?
He's in a safety meeting, all about that safety stuff. He's like, I got a safety dinner. I can't come this evening. And I was like, oh, okay, I see how it is. Nah, he was upset. He likes being with us, so.
Yeah.
But we've got an exciting guest this evening, Nathan Light with 3B Outdoors. He does most of their fishing side of things. They do a lot of fishing, hunting videos, and they do a lot of things for the outdoors. So we're going to have him on this evening to talk a little bit about that. We're just now getting into our fishing segments. So we had Will Diffenbaugh on here last week, and that episode will air tomorrow morning. So be sure to check that out. And so we'll go ahead and get into it.
Nice.
Nathan Light, how you doing, sir?
Oh, man, I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, buddy, we're doing good. I tell you, y'all been doing some fishing down there?
Yeah, actually, the last trip we made, we went up and fished the New River there. Just made one day. We had a couple of buddies that were up there floating, and we went up and took the jet boat, actually. And
oh, wow.
Made about a 6.5 hour float down the New, and it's all different water than what I normally get to fish. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah. You're normally on lakes and things, aren't you?
Well, typically we are, but now we love to fish out of the rivers. That's what I grew up doing and learned how to fish over out of the North Fork there in Virginia, and runs into Tennessee. And we learned to catch smallmouth over there, and I haven't gotten over that. So we spent a lot of time, but now the jet boats have really enabled us to, do a lot of things in the rivers. And the reason we like to fish out of the rivers, they bite. So we catch them pretty good out of the river.
Man, I tell you, those smallies in the New, that's a big thing up there.
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of them up there, but it seems like, now this is just me, I don't fish up there very much, but we have some really good smallmouth in our rivers here also, the South Fork of the Holston, the North Fork, and right where we live in Kingsport, there's some really, really nice smallmouth fishing, and we love to catch them.
Yeah, we've fished South Holston a lot. My sister lives right there in Abington, Virginia. I think we've talked about that before.
Oh, yeah.
But she's not far from there, and, of course, we go over into Damascus and fish over in that area. And Taylor's Valley, I'm sure you know about that, trout fishing. Yeah,
actually, been several years now, but we did a little work with the Department of Tourism for Virginia there. They had the Blue Ridge Highlands Fishing Trail set up, and we shot some videos for them, trout fishing and bass fishing, on the lakes and different small, streams around there. And it's pretty cool. I got to do some things with some of the trout guides and different people that's a little out of my comfort zone, but it was really fun.
Yeah. So you're the co-owner and fishing host, like we're saying, of 3B Outdoors. You all do a lot of tournament things like that. You specialize in tight line for the wintertime smallmouth and river fishing, like you're saying.
Yeah, historically in the past, I fished a lot more tournaments than what I do now, and Kevin Powers and I, we fished the White Pine Marine Tournament Trail and doing fairly well. I think we're in 11th place right now in points halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Primarily for the TV show stuff. We fish East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia. Occasionally we'll go out of town. We'd love to go to fish the Susquehanna River up there near Harrisburg and shoot a few shows here. You know, we've the French Broad River there in Pigeon Forge and different places like that. We like to jump in the jet boat, but we love to catch those smallmouth, largemouth too. But the tightline thing kind of gave me a little bit of reputation, I guess, over the years.
Yeah. So did you all get to film the new river where y'all was fishing?
No, we just actually took a fun trip.
Oh, okay.
It was a buddy of mine, Danny Wicker, lives over in North Carolina. We just made a little fun trip out of it with a couple of buddies, and it's pretty cool. I caught a muskie, actually, and that was a surprise for me. I've only caught a few of those. So.
Oh, yeah, man. Them things give nice fights, don't they? How big was it?
It wasn't, I'm saying, I don't know, 32 inches maybe, something like that. It was, it was small by muskie standards, but we didn't have a net. It was we didn't have to go to the ER, but my buddy had he was wounded in the process. I'll put it that
my
way.
gosh!
Wow. So, yeah, them things will get you, buddy. I'm telling you.
You got to get them by the gills.
I have personally never caught one, but I've been with people that have caught them, and Jonathan Fowler, he's one of our pro staffers, and he fishes them, like crazy. He loves fishing them, and he's caught some big ones. I mean, 46, 48 inches. He's caught some big ones.
Yeah, we went to Canada several years ago and caught a few of them up there, and I hadn't caught one around here since, we'd been to Canada. So I knew enough about them. I didn't want to lip them, and I definitely didn't want to mess with them too close. So we used some pliers to land them and get him back in the water.
Yeah, they can swing around on you pretty quick and put a tooth in your leg or something. Yeah, for sure.
They're dangerous for sure.
Yep. So you have a co-host, or well, actually a co-owner. It's you and Freddie Neely. So he's more of the hunting side of things. We'll have to have him on at the start of deer season, maybe this year during archery or something like that, so he can give your all's aspect on that. And I think that's pretty cool that you all kind of split the sides. Is he a fisherman too, or?
Well, all of our guys, I don't hunt. I'm pretty much the oddball out on the hunting side. The only thing I hunt is a new place to fish.
Yeah, but, there you go.
Yeah.
But basically, the guys, all of them that we have on the hunting and fishing side, they will cross over, and the hunters will fish, the fishermen will hunt. But Freddie, he is a really good hunter. He's hunted. He goes to Wyoming, Ohio, Kentucky, and shot some really nice deer, and he's really, really good turkey hunter. And a few years ago, he decided he was going to buy him a kayak and do some float fishing. And, of course, he wanted the new rod and reel. And I gave him one. And the next thing I heard was that he'd put it on the back of his kayak and was using another one. And he got about a mile downstream and couldn't find the one I gave him. So you know how that rolls. He don't have any idea where he lost it or whatever. But that's so we try to keep him on TV on the hunting side. So
yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
And I definitely stay on the fishing side, but it works out really well as far as the business goes. What we really promote with our sponsorships and people who follow us is a true crossover. That's what we call it, TV show, because I don't get on TV and try to hunt, and Freddie don't get on there and try to fish. It's really two separate entities, and I think that's what really helps is you never know who you're going to see, which of our pro staffers each week, and we have some really good guys, and we have a really good time, and it's close knit family, and we've been at it now, finished up 16 years, so pretty fortunate.
It's hard to believe it's been that long. I mean, we've never actually met, but we've always kept in contact through social media and things like that. But I think it's been probably, I would say, at least 8 years that we first met.
Yeah, it has, and it's amazing. And that, to me, that's what I tell everyone, that is one of the huge benefits for me personally, what we've done is just meeting so many people, not just here in our area, but across the country, and hanging out with people that just, some of them do it at the highest level, professional hunters and professional fishermen that and making a phone call if you're in a different state or something, and getting a little tip on how to catch one, or just, buddies or whatever. But that fellowship and getting to hang out with people with like-minded ideas is just something that's just been a huge blessing for me personally.
Yeah, I love the fact that you can, socialize and do these things and reach out to people. I mean, that's one good thing about Facebook. You can actually network and talk to people about any problems you have, or if you've got a different idea for something in the hunting industry or fishing, and you all can share things and talk back and forth, and you all become kind of friends, and you've never even met before. I think it's one of the good things about Facebook.
It really is. It's changed the whole dynamic of communication as far as in between, like I said, people who love to hunt and fish.
Yeah. It really broadens the range of how far you can reach out to people. And then if you get a chance to meet, we've met a lot of the people that we, initially met on Facebook. So, we've met up with them and done things with them and things like that. So I think it's good.
Well, it's pretty cool for us. I'll give you an example. Freddie was hunting in Ohio and met some guys up there that eventually ended up working with us on our pro staff.
Oh, yeah.
They just happened to see him up there with the video camera and ran them down the restaurant, got talking, and the rest is history. So it's pretty awesome. And, we've got some guys that really dedicated to doing what we do. And I know I gave you a little rundown there of who our guys are, but on the hunting side, Richie Mason, he's with us now. He's from up there in Ohio and Kentucky. And he and Freddie right now are the two mainstays because Dustin Coates, one of our original pro staffers, he was on the hunting side, but he loved to fish and would go run the camera for us on the fishing side. And anything need to be done, he would take care of it, and just a brother to everyone. And he had some heart issues and went in a few weeks ago to have open heart surgery and made it out of surgery fine. And about 3 days later, man, he had some complications and passed away, and it has really rocked our world because, I said, we're family. And man,
I've seen that on Facebook, and I feel for you guys, and our thoughts and prayers were with you. That's crazy.
Yeah, and he and Freddie were like they pretty much spent time together almost every day. So we've had a lot of prayers, and it's just been really difficult, but. That's just got to be ready to go, man. When your time is up, you better be ready to go. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Yep. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then on the fishing side, we've got some awesome fishermen. Kevin Powers, he was a 3-time BFL All-American qualifier and awesome tournament fisherman. And he is a hammer. I mean, he can catch them. And then Barry Loop, who we call Big Bass Barry, he used to guide up on the New River, and he's an awesome fisherman too. And that's one thing about our whole team. We do whatever's necessary. We don't care who's running the camera, who's in front of the camera. We just do whatever it takes to try to put out a good, entertaining, quality show. And so far we've, with our budget and everything like that, we've done pretty good. So we're real happy with what we've done so far, but still got a long ways to go. And
well, yeah, I mean, 16 years in, you guys have acquired a good bit of equipment over the time, I'm sure. And
did I lose you?
Yeah, sorry about that. Hold on just a second. We'll just pause it real quick. Hold on just a second. Little interruption there. We were talking about talking to Nathan about the first that we have. I mean, my wife just called while we're on the podcast, and I told her we were starting at 7:30. But you want to make sure things isn't going wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
You tell her we're recording at 7:30, and it's here 8:00, and she's calling. I'm thinking something may be up.
Yeah, right,
so,
that's right.
I don't blame you for that. You got to make sure. Make sure.
You definitely do. But you were talking about some of the mishaps that you all have there with your video cameras and mics and different things like that.
Yeah, we've got a pretty long list of ways to destroy cameras and mic cables and things like that. We've hit the eject button on the camera mount plate on a tree arm and shot it down almost on top of the deer under the tree stand.
Jeez.
we have lost one in the river, dropped one down the steps, and then the camera. I mean the actual mics. We use those Sennheiser wireless lapel mics, and you can imagine trying to climb trees and shoot deer and fish and riding a boat and everything.
Them things ain't
those
cheap
little
either.
teeny wires, they don't make them for outdoor use, I don't think.
No. And they ain't cheap either.
No.
No, they're proud of them for sure.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about bucks, bass, and beards.
Well, the first thing that I'll tell you, over the years, there's been a lot of people made up some different acronyms for the bees. Okay?
Oh, man.
And I'll let you use your imagination there, but they stand for bucks, bass, and beards. And that's what we originally started out with. The obviously the bucks and bass, and the beards are the turkeys. They're not the hunters. So a couple of our guys will grow a beard occasionally, but it is all about the turkeys. And like I said before, we kind of advertise to our sponsor base and those that are interested in who we are and what we do as a true crossover show, because we do hunt and fish. And we were talking earlier that if you're a high-end hunter, most of the time you're going to do some type of fishing. And if you're a high-end fisherman, you're probably going to do some kind of hunting. So if you turn on 3B Outdoors and you hunt or fish, if the other that you primarily do comes on, you're still probably going to hang out and watch it because it still interests you. So that's we like that theme, and it's worked well for us over the years.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that your all's TV show airs in the Tri-Cities there on Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. Well,
yeah, we typically we air regionally we air from November to April, and we're on 3 different networks, which is really cool. We're on WCYB, WEMT, and then the sister station of WCYB, which is the CW. And we'll have 4 different airings, and it's pretty cool. So we cover a lot of ground, and we produce 13 TV shows a year, and then we'll re-air them to get 26 weeks, which is pretty standard for the industry. And then as a bonus, we are on 52 weeks a year on rightnowtv.com, and it's they do have live or broadcast TV across the nation to different select cities, but they're available on multiple streaming platforms like Roku and several different others. But you can go to rightnowtv.com and check those out and watch us 52 weeks a year there, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, wow, that's nice. Yeah.
That's great.
Huh.
We're on 4 times a week, actually, and have some really good prime time spots. So they give us some really good reach there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you guys have a YouTube page as well, along with all those channels that you all air on. But you all upload on there?
Yeah, we do some things different with our YouTube channel, and it's kind of a two-edged sword. Our viewers, when you're watching YouTube, obviously they prefer shorter segments and no commercials. Well, you have to pay for broadcasts and everything like that. So part of our package that our sponsors really like is we include our sponsor advertisements on YouTube. So they actually get the residual value as long as they're up on YouTube for their advertisement. And we felt like that was a more of a financial advantage for us to maximize it that way versus trying to maximize the monetization on YouTube. So it's, like I said, it's kind of a two-edged sword, but we really do have a strong YouTube channel. I think right now, I just glanced at the other day, and we're up over like 300 videos. Of course, some of them are commercials, some of them are shorts and different things like that, but you can pretty much binge watch 3B Outdoors on YouTube for a while.
Heck yeah.
So somebody commented there on our post that we made. They said bucks, bass, and beards. Yes. So they liking that.
There you go.
They'll definitely get that out there. So
you've had
we do some quality TV shows, and we have a really good time, and we don't try to, like you said, overproduce it. We're not ESPN grade with all the overproduction, but we do have some really good quality shows. Our editor, Jerome Coniger, he does some really good work, and he produces a lot of commercials nationally, and he has national clients, and he has taken us to another level since we started working with him several years ago. And we were on Fox Sports South. It's been a few years back, 5 or 6 years ago, and they actually had Nielsen ratings, and we scored really well on our Nielsen ratings for the first time. But being that far away and not having true marketing support, we just couldn't really manage that market. But it was pretty good, the reaction and the response we received. So we was pretty happy with that.
Yeah. So you were talking about you guys been in this 16 years. So is this 16 years of actually filming, or you all started?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the first year we only produced 6 shows, which was because we didn't really know if we could keep it going. And fortunately, we picked up enough sponsors to squeak by and be able to keep it rolling. But Freddie and I, when we started, one of the agreements that we made was that we was not going to jeopardize our family's finances just to be on TV, and we were also not going to go in debt. Okay. And so far, we've kept true to that. We've had, like I said, the opportunities. The Sportsman's Channel came after us multiple times, and I still receive, emails occasionally asking us if we're ready to come to Sportsman's Channel. But when you take that step, you have to go at it full time.
Yeah, you
do. We've had jobs that sustained our livelihoods, and we didn't have to depend on 3B Outdoors for our income, and didn't want to hit the road and be away from our families. And so we've just tried to be as big as we can and remain as small as we can.
I got you. So now,
if that makes sense to you.
Oh yeah, definitely does. I mean, that's the way we run our business. Do you guys both still work regular jobs, or you all retired?
I'm retired. Freddie is still working full time. He's at Eastman. I was also at Eastman. I spent almost a little over 40 years, so I've been retired for a little bit now, and really enjoying that. Spending some time with the grandkids and fishing when the phone rings, or playing golf, or primarily trying to say yes, ma'am, as much as I can.
Yeah. I hear you. I bet you that list gets long sometimes, don't it?
Well, we've been married a long time, and she understands me, so it works out real well. I'll have to say she's a good one. She got the short end of the stick when she married me. That's the only problem from her perspective.
I hear you. That's good.
I feel the same way, honestly.
We both, me and Dave both, have amazing wives, and they don't complain or care that we go fishing and hunting and things like that. We hear guys talk all the time like, my wife just she can't let me go hunting without saying something.
Yeah, that's right.
I've heard that all too. My pastor used to have a quote that really applies in my case. He said, "You outpunted your coverage."
Nice. I tell you what, man. Last night I was at work, and Mallory's like, "If you get home in a certain she said, you get home at a certain time, you want to go fishing?" I'm like, oh, man. I said it out in the office. I was like, man, I got the best wife, man. She's awesome.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, man. So we'll go ahead and do our salute to valor since Dan's not here this evening. He usually does our salute, but I'll go ahead and do it. So our salute to valor this evening goes to Robert Schrader from Newhall, West Virginia. He was in the United States Marine Corps. He was a corporal. 4 years he served, 1st Battalion, 7th Marine, and 1st Marine Division. He had one tour, and it was in, Quang Tri Province? Is that how you say that? Vietnam, so. And he was awarded the Purple Heart, Combat Action Ribbon, Meritorious Unit Commendation, Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Service Medal, RVN Service Medal, and I'm not too familiar with that. Dan would probably know. With 1 star, and then an RVN Cross of Gallantry with Palm, RVN Campaign Medal with Device, and RVN Civil Action Colors with Palm. And he was discharged in July 28th of 1972. So, Robert Schrader, thank you for your service, sir, to our great country.
Yes, thank you, Robert.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, that's one of the things that when we started this podcast, I was like, man, we have to, salute our veterans every podcast. I mean, there's not enough of it that goes on. We have the 4th of July, obviously. We have Memorial Day and, we have Veterans Day and things like that. But we really need to be doing it every day of the week, I mean, if you see a veteran, yeah, especially in today's time, you're right.
Yeah, today more than ever.
Right. if you see somebody out that's served and that they've served, and you can tell pretty much. There are some people out there that try to steal the valor from the military service members.
Yeah.
That does happen.
Yeah, for sure.
But so we love to do that. That's one of the things. That's the least we can do.
That's right.
All right, let's get back into it. So your fishing team's made up of Barry, Loop, you said, former New River guide. Where's he from here in West Virginia, or is he?
He lives in Saltville, actually.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Powers.
Yeah, he's over in Unicoi.
3-time BFL All-American qualifier. Nice.
Yeah, that's a big deal right there now.
Sure is. So Richie,
he's going to win one of these days, I think.
So is he still in like the tournament segments and?
Oh yeah, definitely. He fishes a lot more tournaments than what I do. He fishes the Morristown Marine Trail and several other trails, and so yeah, definitely he puts in his time, and that's one reason he's really good. But
awesome.
He's very talented. If you've heard of, I know Craig Powers throwing the popar. They're not related, but Kevin.
Oh yeah.
Man, Kevin can sling that popar out of sight, throwing it up under docks and limbs, and it's pretty amazing just to watch him work that popar. He's really good flipping and pitching and everything else, but just to watch him throw that popar with 2 treble hooks on it out of sight, it's pretty amazing.
So what is one
of
your
Barry's strength? Is up on the rivers. That's what he done. And, and he's a river rat, and Big Bass Barry, he didn't get that by accident. So that's pretty much. So when you see Barry, he likes to hold those big smallmouth up, and it makes him real happy, and he gets excited. So that's all good. He loves it.
Nice. So what's one of your favorite setups?
Well, we talked a little bit about tight lining, and tight lining, I've been doing it since the early 90s. And, it caught a little bit of fame there for a little bit. My buddy, Roger Stapleton, who also has passed along too early, but he made a little jig head for me. We started putting some duck feather on it and called it the ugly head jig just because it was ugly. I mean, it was really ugly. He took a Dremel tool and beat out a mold and had it perfectly balanced, and we used a high quality hook in it, and man, we started catching a lot of fish and doing well in some tournaments, and we kept it quiet for a few years, and then we started doing a TV show and some different things like that. And tight lining now is pretty much a staple word here in East Tennessee especially, but I didn't invent it at all. I just love to fish it, and we did a lot of TV shows, so we've promoted it a lot, but my buddy Larry Fitzgerald actually showed me how. So it's not something I originated, but man, we have really fished it a lot. Now we throw a Berkeley Gulp minnow on it, and if you watch the Bassmasters Classic last year on Hartwell, Jason Christie actually won it. Of course, he was using forward-facing sonar, but he was using basic setup like what we've been throwing for a long time, and put it out there for the world to see. And they don't call it tight lining; they call it using a small swim bait or something like that. But he was shaking it exactly the way we do, and a lot of guys, it's pretty popular. So it's pretty good deal, and I like to keep up with those guys. And it's deadly in the wintertime when that water temperature is 45 to 55 degrees or 60. It just catches them like crazy. But you gotta hold on, let them swim around with it. You can't get in a hurry. We throw it on 4-pound line.
Yeah.
It's a 1/8 ounce jig head with a 3-inch Berkeley Gulp minnow. We primarily throw smelt and use it on a 7-foot, 4-inch Dixie custom rod that's made, for tight lining. And then a 2500 series spinning reel, Abby Garcia, Revo, or something like that, something with a good drag. And you just throw it out there and let it free fall, shake it a little bit, and they grab it and take off, and you just bear hunting with a switch.
Okay, so y'all are calling it tight line, and I would just call it jigging, I think,
Yeah, everybody's got their own title for it, but we just call it tight lining because we don't fish it on the bottom like a jig. We want it to free fall like on a pendulum.
Okay.
And we want it to do what we call surf the rocks. We don't want it to, if you're banging the rocks and getting hung up, you're going too slow. And if you're never hitting the bottom, you're going too fast. And we're trying to catch those fish that are up suspended in the water column, not eating on the bottom or on top water, but definitely suspended. And it's deadly in the wintertime.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been doing something similar to that with some of the lakes and stuff that, well, ponds we've been fishing. I'll throw out, I'm primarily fishing Texas rig with a 5-inch or 4-inch worm, mostly black or pumpkin seed, but I always keep black in my tackle box. I mean, you can always go to black, and
everybody's got their favorite, and that's most of the time that's what you're going to catch fish on. It's your favorite because you're going to throw it more, so and your confidence bait. So if it's your confidence and it works, there you go. That's a deadly combination.
But in these ponds, I've been throwing out, letting it hit the bottom, and then jigging up from there, all the way in.
I tell you the way I fish them too, man, is a lot of times I'll fish them weightless with just a hook in them.
Yeah,
because you can still fling them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a S style, worm bait. The big the fatties, and just let them drop real slow, and then I just lift it up and let it drop back down. Reel your slack up.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I don't know how many times, like especially in pressured situation like that lake sometimes we fish out there. I mean, they'll just hit it. Like last night, I was using a black one that was doing that. Caught one and got a bunch of hits, but I was only there for an hour, and I mean it's a pressured.
It is very pressured.
Yeah,
but most people out there is catfishing, but they're they've still got they're still pressured.
And it was super muddy too.
Because I've talked to plenty of guys that's out there catfishing, and they're catching bass, they're catching crappie. They're not only catching the cat.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes you never know what you're going to catch. It's like
that's right.
It's like a box of chocolates,
I'm telling you, I caught a catfish one time on a black trick worm.
Yeah,
just dragging it across the bottom, trying to get a bass to hit it.
I did the same thing.
Caught a catfish on it
at Woodrum's Lake. I caught a big old cat. I thought that thing. I could have swore it was a bass. I mean, I was Texas rigged up with a 6-inch black worm.
Yeah, that's what I had.
That catfish slammed that thing. And I thought, oh my God, I got a 4 or 5 pounder on here. He was fighting good. I get him up, and it's a catfish.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me?
That's funny.
There you go. We don't call anything on 3B Outdoors.
That's right. Hey Nathan, I got a question for you.
A catfish will make the show.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. I got a question for you. Now when you're tight lining, could you do that with something like a speed worm?
Well, actually, you can. But what we're doing. If the water temperatures, the clear, cold water is the determining factor. And if you're out on the lakes in the wintertime and those shad start dying off, and if you see them, you'll see them occasionally just floating on top of the water, or you'll see them under the water, and they'll just quiver every once in a while. They'll dart maybe 6 inches, So what we're doing is imitating those dying shad.
Okay. And
with that little small bait, and it's light line in the wintertime, and it's real slow, but those smallmouth, they just can't take it, and it's not a vicious bite. Your rod will just load up. You'll just feel like you maybe got a blade of grass or something like that on it, and then man, you just hold on, because typically they'll go right out to the middle of the lake, and the worst thing you can do is get in a hurry. You just either use your drag. We like to back reel, we call it, flip the anti-reverse off, and it's a little bit. It's an old school technique now. These younger guys, some of the newer reels don't even have a back reel. Drag is all you have. You can't even flip the anti-reverse button. But we still like to do that. It's a little. Once you learn how to do it, you break off many less fish, and also you don't have to depend on that drag as much.
Gotcha,
man. But you just hold on to them and wrestle them and take your time. Don't get in a hurry. You can land them all 4-pound line.
I tell you, have you ever been in a situation to where you've had to use barbless hooks?
I've done a little bit of trout fishing, on some streams that you do, and not very often, no. But the hooks that we use actually on our tight line jigs that we pour ourselves, we use what is called a Daiichi brand hook.
Yeah.
And it's one of the smallest, strongest, sharpest hooks that I've ever ran across, and it's really good for that small diameter line that you can penetrate the fish's mouth. But the barb on it is almost unnoticeable. It's so small. So that's one of the things that makes it, really well, because it penetrates with a lot less pressure. But true barbless, I've not done a lot of fishing with the true barbless hook. No.
Yeah, I don't particularly like it myself.
I didn't like it. I mean, I caught.
You caught fish. I didn't. I'd never done it before. So we were on a, fishing, guided fishing thing there at the Greenbrier Resort here in West Virginia. And, we were trout fishing. I mean, I hooked onto some monsters.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking 28 inches. I mean, big fish.
Yeah.
And here they go.
Well, you gotta keep it loaded up to where your rod's loaded up at least 45-degree angle, and it's so hard to do that when you're fly fish. I don't know, man. It was difficult to keep track of all that.
Well, see, one of the things too was we were trying a new technique.
Yeah.
All these years, I've trout fished and fly fished, and I've done it my way, what I thought was right, instead of from a professional guide.
Yeah.
Never been on a professional guided fishing thing like that.
Yeah.
And, man, they really set you right.
Oh, yeah.
And tell you exactly what to do. These guys do it for a living. So
they're amazing.
They know.
Yeah.
They
were great.
And, man, I tell you, it was an awesome time, but I wish I could have got some pictures like my son did.
You don't have very much room for error with a barbless hook.
You don't.
Sure. I did a little piece. I think it might have been one of the first years that we did our show. We had a fellow that actually owned a portion of the trout stream. They rented it out to, different people's. It's kind of a members thing. And he had a trout farm, and he raised them, and he wanted to do a show and wanted us to promote his guide service in the stream and where he raised his trout farm. And he hooked me up with the best guide up there. And, man, like you said, he was really trying to take the Bubba bass fisherman out of me and teach me how to be trout. And it was hilarious, because he'd say, "You're pulling it away from me. You're pulling it away from me." And I said, "Man, I got to feel it." He said, No, you got to mend your line. He was coaching me all this.
Yeah.
Yep.
He said, "I'm going to have to put you a strike indicator on so you can detect your strikes." And I said, "Oh, that's just a bobber or a floater." He said, Oh no, they're a strike indicator.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely.
They're funny about that.
The trout fishermen don't refer to their what we call floats or bobbers.
No, they don't. Yeah.
We use those. Different culture.
It is. Yeah, we use those starting out. And I've never used them either. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I thought it was nice.
It helps for sure. But
yeah,
I caught some nice fish, and at the end of the day, it made a really good show. And I made a friend, through fishing and outdoors that I would never met any other way. It was a really good time.
But they didn't convert you, though.
No,
I gave him a hard time. I told him that, in bass fishing, I didn't have to have a Mercedes or a two-billed hat to go fishing, Sims waders. I was giving him, down the line. He said, "Let's talk about how much that bass boat cost." And I said, "Let's change the subject, something else."
Yeah.
That's right.
That's funny. Still bass fisherman, huh? I hear you.
Oh, yeah, hardcore. Now, I love that. Now, I'm dangerous with the fly rod. I know just enough, a few backhand roll casts, forehand roll casts, and shadow casts. I can get it done as long as there's not very many overhanging trees.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But, and I do enjoy it, but there's nothing like bouncing that jet boat off of a rock or running that bass boat 70 mile an hour down the lake and catch, what I'm saying? It's just a difference, and everyone has their preferences, and that's what makes the world go around. So it's all good.
Yeah. So what's some of your favorite lakes there in the area to fish? I know you talked about South Holston. You fish it a lot, and you fish Smith Mountain.
I've never been on Smith Mountain, no.
Okay.
But primarily we fish South Holston, Watauga, Cherokee, Douglas. Boone is really close, and Patrick Henry's, really close. And then we'll venture occasionally down on Watts Bar, Chickamauga. We've done some shows.
Okay.
Gunnersville, and then like I said, if we go north, I've been to Champlain and Lake Erie. We shot a couple of shows up there a couple of years ago, but we just really enjoy going to the Susquehanna River up there, and that's a giant river there, and catching those smallmouth out of that jet boat, it's just really fires us up.
That's nice. So you say you've never fished Smith Mountain, huh?
No, never have. Believe it or not, but I've got some buddies that really, they love it up there.
I've heard a lot of good stuff come out of there. Of course, we fished Douglas too, some. I like Douglas.
Oh, man, I had the the best catch of my life on Douglas a few years ago. Brian Uten, who is a real good friend of mine, he fishes Douglas and is one of the best fishermen offshore on Douglas that I know. And we were actually filming a show, and Dustin Coates, like I said, the guy that passed away, was running the camera for us. And I set the hook on a 10XD crankbait way offshore, and I told him, I said, that's a good one right there, man. The closer it got, the heavier it got, and it come up way out there. And Brian said, that's a big walleye. And I said, I don't know. And it come up beside the boat, and there was 2 fish on there, largemouth. One of them, we got excited, man. We just flipped out. We netted both of them and got them in. Everybody's going crazy. We didn't know what to do. But the largest one weighed 7.4, and the other one was up 6 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
And we got excited and didn't weigh the other one. We just weighed the big one. But the pictures, didn't lie. I mean, it was as close to the other one as you could get. But that's that's like making 4 or 5 hole-in-ones in the same round for me. But that'll never happen. But it was pretty. I'm glad the camera was running. Nobody would believe.
Yeah, definitely. Goodness gracious. So we used to crappie fish a lot at South Holston at night. I'd come down and stay there in Abington with my sister in the summertime, and we'd go with my brother-in-law's buddy out there on the lake, South Holston, and fish crappie. Man, we used to slay some crappie out there. I mean, it was crazy the amount of fish that we would catch.
Yeah, there's a lot of trout up there now. Way back in the day, I fished a lot at night. I still love to fish at night. It's just, can't film as well, so I don't go nearly as much as what I used to. But we've spent some really good nights up there way back in the day, trout fishing and also, bass fishing, smallmouth and largemouth. But never really crappie fished very much up there, but there's some big ones up there. And I love to go crappie fishing and walleye fishing too.
Yeah.
We caught some big walleye up there at night.
Boy, that's some good eating fish.
Oh, man, I guess, with my fishing career, honestly, Wayne Mullins, he is without a doubt one of the best walleye fishermen ever and one of the best smallmouth and largemouth fishermen in the area. And years ago, my buddy and I were starting to fish some tournaments, and, man, we were getting hammered. We were getting beat. And, of course, we were fishing buddy tournaments. Nobody wouldn't tell you anything or help you or anything. And I was at the tackle shop one day crying the blues and telling Wayne I was getting ready to quit and all this stuff, and his bass club had actually come to our high school, and he gave me my first crankbait when I was in high school, and they did a few things with it. So he kind of knew me from there. And I told him, I said, I'm getting ready to quit bass fishing. They're beating us to death. I'm tired of donating, and I'm frustrated. I'm going to move on. He said, well, you can go fishing with me if you want to. And I thought, sure, you're the big town, and you're going to take little old me bass fishing with you. And I said, well, he said, well, if you don't want to go, it's up to you. And I said, no, I want to go, but I didn't think you'd take me. But long story short, man, for the next 2 to 3 years, we fished tournaments, night tournaments, day tournaments, walleye fishing. And, man, he just really, poured into me. He didn't take me out there and just catch them. He took me out there and showed me how, where, and when. And, man, it's just, I can't say enough about how he really got me started and turned me loose, awesome. To getting me going forward where I'm a better fisherman. So it's just amazing.
That's great.
Nice. So you guys are getting ready to go into your 17th season of Bucks, Bass, and Beards. 17
years. Hard to believe. Yes, sir.
Man, that's crazy. How many more years y'all plan on doing it?
Well, Freddie and I made an agreement there also that when we either couldn't pay the bills or the fund ran out. And we had a couple of guys that were with us from day one. They were brothers, Clayton and Randy McDavid, and they have more fun than any 2 people I know, and they're tremendous hunters. They're great turkey hunters, great deer hunters, and they were with us from day one on the TV show. And last year, they were up in Ohio, and they hadn't seen a deer for 3 or 4 days, and they packed all that camera gear in and everything. So they looked at each other in the tree stand and said, let's just hunt from here on out and have fun. So they kind of went into retirement. They said they'll still, run the camera some and maybe do a turkey hunt or 2 or maybe a deer hunt occasionally, but they didn't want us to count on them anymore. But, man, what they were really, good for us and still remain great friends. But now they were awesome. And that's what they done. They said, we're just going to have fun, so that time will come. And I don't know when, but so far, we've had a real good long-term sponsors that stayed with us, and we've been able to pay the bills, and so far it's still fun. So that's kind of will determine the factor, when we hang it up.
Yeah.
Right.
I hear you.
Well, Nathan, I tell you, something else that we like to do, along with our Salute to Valor, we like to do a Scripture of the Day. And today's Scripture of the Day is out of John, the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 12. And, I'm reading out of the Passion. That's the translation I'm kind of hooked on until further notice. I just like the way it, it kind of puts it into, the words that it uses to bring out some of this stuff is it just really hits home sometimes.
Well, they got a lot of different good versions out today.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like the Message and the ESV.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like the ESV a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
But, it just kind of helps you comprehend it, kind of understand it a lot
That's
better.
my thing. A
lot of people don't understand thou, ear, all the all the older language that's in the Hebrew. But
that's right.
And that's kind of what I grew up on. And, over the years, I've learned that the most important thing is that you read, so
that's it. Yeah.
That's it. That you read it and you do your best to understand it, and then most importantly, you apply it. So
that's the deal. Absolutely, I'm with you there. But this, John here, he's talking about Jesus, and he says, "But those who embraced him and took hold of his name were given authority to become the children of God." And I know a lot of, a lot of people try to use religion to put almost like like shackles on you. Like you have to do this, this, and this to qualify yourself to be a Christian, or to qualify your, you know what I'm saying, to be able to use the name of Jesus. Well, how are you using the name of Jesus? I saw you have a beer. Or how are you using the name of Jesus? I heard you say a cuss word the other day. And I'm not advocating for that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying, like, if it was about us being perfect, nobody could ever make it.
Yeah.
That wasn't what it was about. It was about him being perfect. And all we got to do is receive
nothing
it.
we have done, for sure.
Absolutely.
We can't earn it at all.
Yeah,
yes.
One of the things that our pastors always talked about is not to get caught up on the outside things of a person, that what they do or what they wear or how they act. You want to know that person by their heart.
Either way, they can dress up and send the wrong impression, as well as they look the other part, and you make judgments both ways. I've been guilty both ways. So
that's
I
right. Me too. Yeah.
Yep.
Like you see somebody in a suit going to church, and you think, man, that guy's got it together.
Yeah.
Yep. They all smiling, the family, and you never know what's going on behind the scenes sometimes. Right. And then I've met some people that, I thought maybe weren't where I thought they should be, maybe, and got to know them a little bit closer. Man, they put me to shame with
same here, man.
I've done that.
For their faithfulness and consistency, and their walk with the Lord, really put me back to, question and say, man, I need to step my game up,
Yep. One of the things that I forgot to mention, you had mentioned you'd retired from Eastman, and I think that's how we met, is through Tyler Dockery.
It is, yeah. Tyler, he lives over here, and he and I had touched base a little bit. In fact, we had kind of talked back and forth about, possible maybe sponsorship, working with Nature's Voice a little bit back and forth, and I think that's kind of how we found out that we were almost neighbors.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, when you brought that up, I'm like, because I'm sitting here thinking it's been so long. I'm like, how was it that we met? I know we met through someone, but Tyler had been with us. He'd been with us since the beginning, and he still does things every now and then and comments on things, but he has stepped away to be more involved with family and just different things like that. He's definitely got a busy lifestyle, but he had there after COVID, he had talked about just a lot of things in his life had changed, and he wanted to just spend more time with family and kind of focus himself back on the Lord and family. So he does a little reading on Facebook every evening on the Bible.
That's what I was say. I've seen him there, several times, reading each evening. So that's awesome.
Yep, he sure does. I love Tyler. He's a great guy. He's been with us since, like I said, since the beginning, and he's been a big help and a big support for Nature's Voice game calls, and it's been good knowing him and continuing that relationship. So,
Well, I'm going to take a 30-second here, and if you don't mind, I was a professional for almost 30 years, but it was a professional hypocrite. And I tell everyone that if you knew me before and after, you probably wouldn't see a whole lot of difference, because I grew up in church. I was a pretty cool guy. Didn't get into a lot of stuff. Good dad, technically, and good employee, decent person. And one Sunday morning, my grandmother asked me. She said, "You haven't joined the church. Let's go and get baptized." She said, "I'm going to go join." And no, she said, "Let's go join the church." She said, "You haven't either." And I said, "Well, Mama, I haven't been baptized." And I said, "I haven't been saved, and I know you don't want to go be baptized before you give your heart and life to Jesus." She said, "This morning be a good morning. Take care of that."
Yeah.
So we did, and never looked back. And like I said, I kind of let myself rob my testimony, because I didn't have a lot of things to say that God saved me from or kept me from or whatever. But at the same time, I was just as vile wretched as someone doing a lot more sin than what I was. And it's been a great journey, and I haven't looked back. But I was a professional. I tell everyone, if I'd passed away before November 12th, 1989, that some well-meaning pastor would have stood at the head of my casket and said, "As sure as I'm standing here, Nathan Light's in heaven." And he would have been telling me anything but the truth, but he wouldn't have been aware of it, just because of how much hypocritical I was living my life. So, that's what we was talking about. He can be fooled either.
Yeah, you sure can.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely.
With what you were saying, I heard a good analogy on that. It's like if you whether you take a brick and smash through the whole window, or you just put a little tiny crack in it, either way the window's ruined.
Yes.
And that's the way really sin is. If you've got sin, sin is sin.
Sin is sin, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's one of the great things that I've had opportunities since we've been doing the TV show and other things, doing wild game dinners and speaking occasionally and doing fishing classes at church and stuff, So I try not to, because I know how I felt. Some people were well-meaning, but in my opinion, they were pushing me, trying to push me into something I wasn't ready for, or something I didn't do. And, I was red-headed, stubborn, high-strung, competitive. You try to make me do something or push me to do it. I'm not going to do it regardless.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So some people can take a little more force, from the gospel, and some people can. And I've always kind of used my platform to plant seeds and let the Lord do the work. And I've had lots of opportunities to, share my testimony and do things related to the church and sharing my testimony. So that's one of the big things with doing what we've done with 3B Outdoors. It's been a real extra bonus for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, that's, as long as we're here, you're going to have seed time and harvest.
That's right.
That's an awesome thing. So, well, Nathan, I think we've covered about everything we're going to this evening. It was awesome having you on this evening, and I really appreciate your time coming on.
Well, I've had a blast. I hate to ask you to do this, but we were talking about how we got started and everything, and we have a wealth of really good sponsors. Would it be too much if I just kind of ran down my list? And
No. Yeah, I was going to ask you that before we got off, anyways, to go over your sponsors, and that way we can get that advertisement out for them too.
Man, without them, we wouldn't be able to do it. So visit King Sports, our title sponsor, Jim Williams and Associates Attorneys, Mill Creek Construction, Goodman Jewelers up in Chilhowie, Virginia, Luminoc, Avid Angler Solutions, Liberty Sport and Pond over in Pennington Gap, and Liberty Arms in Tazewell, Virginia. Dr. Enough. Everyone thinks I carry around a whole case of Dr. Enough just to give away.
Boy, I'm telling you, I love that stuff.
Oh, man, it's awesome. And then Lift a Lot, lifting services, Just Fishing, Allison and Alan Weeks up there in Bristol, and then Gray Farm Bureau, Wayne Hughes. And then we have several product sponsors that help us out in various ways: Power Pole, Dixie Custom Rods, Mycroft Signs, Angler Tungsten, Woodhaven Custom Calls. Was that okay to say?
No, you're fine saying that. Yeah. We've had. No, you're good. We've actually had, callers, and we've had different call companies on. We're not biased to any of those. So go ahead.
No, I was just teasing you on that one. Matthews bows, Easton arrows, tree limb quivers, swat broadheads, silent night vanes, trophy rock sword sights. So that's my paid advertisement for the night.
There you go.
We really, really appreciate all of them, and a lot of them are non-endemic, and most of them tell us that they just want to be associated with a quality outdoor program. You know, that they don't have to worry about their name being, took down a path that they didn't want to be associated with. So that alone is worth something to us. But man, their support is just incredible.
Yep, I got you. Yeah, we do. We try to do the same thing for our, sponsors as well. We have some sponsors that sponsor the show that don't even have anything to do with outdoors, but they want to be a part of what we're doing, keeping the hunting heritage alive for the youth and all that good stuff in the outdoor industry. So.
Well, it is. Everyone thinks the outdoor industry is a huge circle, and in some ways that you look at it really is. But I can tell you this: it's a small circle. It's a lot smaller than most people think. And if you burn a bridge or do something that treat a sponsor incorrectly or wrongly or whatever, it don't take it long. It's going to get out because it's a close knit people, and the sponsors all communicate at the shows and the expos and everything. So. We have, obviously, like everyone, some sponsors have come and gone, and hopefully each one that we've worked with in the past, the business reason's the only reason that, we've had to part ways, and always tried to leave on very good personal and friendly relationships.
Yeah,
so
for
that's
sure.
Real important to me.
Yep, definitely. We've had some that's come and gone as well, and we try not to burn any bridges on any of those aspects because you never know when they're going to come back, or you never know when you are going to meet up again and going to need each other. So.
Oh, I know, and that's the same way. Just because we're on maybe a different web page or carrying a different logo on our jerseys or our hats or whatever, that doesn't mean. It just means that you've got a different family that you're working with at the time, and it's all good. For sure.
Well, again, Nathan, we appreciate you coming on this evening, and everybody check out 3B Outdoors. They're on YouTube. Check out their Instagram, their Facebook page, and their website, 3boutdoors.com. So check them out. And also, they're on the Tri-Cities area networks there in Northeast Tennessee and Southeast Virginia on WCYB, WEMT, and WCYB, the CW. So that's one of the biggest channels down there. So be sure and check them out, and be sure to check us out on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We're on about 18 other different channels. Everything we talked about this evening, even the sponsors that Nathan mentioned, will be in our description for our podcast episode. So be sure to check it out and share it with your friends. Thank you again, Nathan, for coming on.
Thank you, Mike. It's been a pleasure, and we had a lot to talk about, and look forward to meeting you in person one day.
Yes, sir. Same here. Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you much. You too.
All righty. Thanks, guys, for listening. We sure appreciate you. Like I said, be sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. And tomorrow morning, we have Will Diffenbaugh episode that will be airing at 7 a.m. Thank you all for listening. Have a good night. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Carts Towing and Timco Auto Transport. Local and long-distance towing, auto recovery, roadside assistance, auto lockouts, and jump starts. And they also do repossessions. Give them a call today at 304-949-2323 or 304-925-0858. Again, that's Carts Towing and Timco Auto Transport, 304-949-2323, 304-925-0858.